Well, good evening, friends. Well, today is Monday, April 14th. Let's see what Spirit has for us this week. Kind of excited to see. All right, first card out. Oh, that scythe. That scythe is our change card. Could be something sudden, swift, but I do see a positive decision because there's the sun. And I do see maybe cutting ties, maybe. But also boundaries. I see boundaries, I see a landing, and things coming into alignment. So that's great to see. And then the fish is your, the things that bring you abundance, but it's kind of like your day-to-day activities. And I do see big success with the bear and the sun. Now there's also the fox in the center. The fox in the center is kind of your third party characters, but in this case I just feel like it's collaborations and it's brainstorming, because we've got the snake, the fox, and the bear. That would be like your partnerships, wise counsel, feeling to it. But it could also be third party characters that maybe have an ulterior motive, but the snake being there, I just feel like, if you can use some diplomacy and maybe navigate in a more, diplomacy basically, but, more diplomatic way of handling things. Okay. I do see hard work. Hard work is in focus, and hard work is paying off in its success. So even if you are encountering any challenges, that was the word I was looking for too, coming up with, smart solutions to problems. But definitely things are coming into alignment, and I do see a breakthrough. So the way that these cards are positioned is the best possible outcome for these challenging cards, because I do see the positive result. Okay. Now I've got the mice. The mice, that causes a little bit of nervous energy, especially with the birds, which was the next card out. So there might be a little bit of anxieties, a little bit of concerns, maybe a little bit of gossip. And then I do see a child or a new beginning, or a younger man. So the lilies, though, is kind of like a child that's wise above their years, but it's a lifestyle card as well. So it could be, or a work card. It could be, a new project that might be coming into focus, because we've got the moon there. But there are some multiple pathways that you can go with this. So, don't feel like, only one solution. There's probably multiple ways to skin a cat, basically. I don't like that phrase, but you get my drift. There's going to be more than one solution, and try to go with the one that makes the most sense. Okay. Then I see friendship in the middle here, which that's nice to see. Possibly a friend of the past, and then we have forward progress. I like to see that too. I do see the flowers in the ship, which that's a lovely maybe travel plans with the book, maybe some uncharted territories. But I do see a period of distance, a little period of being away. And then the tree, which is longevity, but it's healing. So that's always nice to see too. So, it kind of has that feeling of a pilgrimage, going on a vacation, maybe to a destination that is maybe of a time of the past. Okay. Then we've got the clouds, we've got the letter, we've got the stars, the cross, the garden, the clover, the lady, the key, and the house. So I see that we have a little bit of spiritual protection here. And then we have some creative energies as well. Wish fulfillment, and the garden is like your networking, but it's also shared spaces. So it could be where your family, friends possibly are coming together, and meeting. And with the cross, it kind of indicates maybe religious connotation to it. So it could be Easter, Easter Sunday, and that is the last portrait. So that would make sense that it would be towards the end of the week. Okay. So I'm going to lay them all out and let's see what else they might say to us here. Let's see. Oh, I do see a little bit of help is coming-ish feeling to it, or maybe, maybe responsibilities that you have to handle in an invitation, but it's got the sun right next to it, so I feel like it might be something that, maybe a little burdensome, but in the end, you'll be glad you were involved with that, okay? Especially if there's multiple things that, you could be doing or would rather be doing. I know I've got plans this weekend, and I'm excited for them. So I don't think it would be anything I would rather do, but it just might be a little bit of challenging situation, okay? So I'm going to lay them, pull them up like I do. Yeah, I do see a little bit of concern, though. A little bit of distance, or stagnant, stuck energy. I do see a second chance. So I don't know if somebody is giving somebody a second chance. Let's see. But a time of the past is in focus, too. So, divine timing is in that lineup. So things are opening up. We're getting into alignment, but we also have to be a little patient because sometimes spirit, their idea of time is a little different than ours. So we might have a little bit of impatience, but you still have to wait for the proper timing. Okay. But yeah, I do see some multiple closings. So multiple doors are closing, or it could be the end of the road, or it could be transformational energy on multiple accounts, okay? In the projects and the successes here. So I always say that even if there is an ending, there is a new beginning, a door that opens. So it's not a negative thing. It's actually a positive thing that people can put a little bit of a, worry, fear, because nobody likes the change part of it, right? But the transformational energy is positive. So even if it does feel like there's something coming to a close or an ending, just be, excited to look forward to the new beginning that's about to open up for you, okay? And I do see, invitations here, and multiple. So we might have, more than one place to go, places to go, people to see, things to do. But the divine timing is definitely highlighted in this lineup too. So, our destined path, there's lots of, there could be obstacles, yes, but when there is an obstacle and it kind of forces you to go another direction, know that is spirit putting you on the right path, your right destiny, okay? So it can kind of have that feeling of a blessing in disguise. But I do see a second chance or possibly dodging a bullet, and it could be on the road related with travel. So, like, let's say there's a roadblock, or there's, listen to your GPS, there might be a stalled vehicle on the side of the road, or, just pay attention, close attention when traveling, okay? Let's see, what else? I see a little bit of butterfly feel to it, excitement there, emotional. I do see a little leveling up going on too, a new chapter. Yeah, I like to see that. I do see there's a little bit of an uprooting, or a little bit of a change in, it could be foundation, but it doesn't feel like it's, I don't feel that it's for the bad. I feel like it's for the good, okay? So whatever, there has been some sort of an uprooting or a surgery, or it could also be, a tree falling. literally, because I've got the tree, the scythe, but then there's the mountain. The mountain is stability. So even though it might feel like things are being uprooted, it's for the stability of the situation, okay? And it has to do with your day to day, all right? So, that cleanup feel, that pruning feel, for the growth to occur, and it's going to be healthy. I do see a third party landing though, so that could be it could be event related or relationship related, and it has to do with the lifestyle of possibly a child or a younger man and a grandfather figure. Okay, so I don't know. It could be a lot of things in that situation, but I do feel that there is a child that's wise beyond their years or a younger man that might be a little more challenging but very intelligent, book smart, very book smart. I do see an offer here. Um, so that's interesting. I mean, like, in what context could this possibly mean? Um, but kind of like a return feel as well. Little challenging, but not necessarily. Okay. I do see research and I do see health involved. So I don't know if maybe, if somebody's experiencing any health issues, maybe check with the family to see if it runs in the family. It could be help. It could offer up some solutions to our health concern. Okay, but I do see progress, and I do see wish fulfillment and healing, and I do see spiritual protection there as well. So when I see the cross and the fox, that kind of has that spiritual mentor or spiritual healer or pastor possibly. It has that feeling to it. There is a little bit of a emotional challenge there though. So let's see what else. A new phase, new chapter. Weather could be a concern, but distance could be a concern. Little bit of when I see the mice and the clouds, that has that anxiety feel to it. So I think what they're trying to say here is, to ground yourself, because I feel like grounding and being out in nature, that has a way of dissipating any anxieties, fears, worries. Because once again, if you're worrying, you're either worrying about the past or you're worrying about the future. You need to stay grounded and present. Okay. There might be a little bit of false to your face feeling, or somebody that means well, but not telling you the truth to maybe spare your feelings. Just being kind without, like that, say what you mean what you say without being mean feeling to it. Let's see what else. Oh, I feel that there is a big financial success on multiple streams. So that's kind of nice to see. But I do see some endings too. So, maybe when one door closes, another door is going to be opening that's going to offer blessing. I do see some possible travel plans, so I'd like to see that, possibly doing a town, a different town, or a bigger city. Okay, and it's successful, so I like that. I don't know if anybody's going to any of the bigger cities, or maybe the Windy City, which is Chicago, feel to it, or someplace on vacation where there is more sunshine, that's a bigger town. I do see a period of maybe rest or being away, a period of being away. So maybe, getting out of town for a few days, possibly, maybe a day road trip. It has that feeling to it though. Let's see what else. Yeah, I feel like, taking care of your health is very important. You know, what we do now is going to affect us, 7 years down the road, 20 years down the road. So be mindful of your health. And, a lot of people don't go to the doctors or seek any medical advice until it's too late. You know, those symptoms, by the time they, you know, rear their ugly head, it might be too late. So stay up on top of your dental appointments, your doctor's appointments, your, annual checkups and that sort of thing. And follow your instincts. Your body is very, it'll tell you, but also your intuitive uh listen to your intuition, but also follow your gut feel too, okay? Because that's all related. Doctors, yeah, they're very wise and they know their stuff, but sometimes we can pay attention to our bodies and understand it a little bit better too. And rest, relaxation, that's important, but eating healthy, exercise, because I do see the exercise here, that's why I'm mentioning it. Positive decision, that could cause a little bit of anxiety. um, so I don't know, maybe you're wrestling around with um, some decision making that what's for your highest and best, and it's not necessarily an easy choice, okay? But I do see the positive outcome, so big success, and it's definitely passionate in nature, something that brings you joy, and I do see a second chance. So I do see a trip that kind of came to an ending. Um, that doesn't feel good, but it was all in the right timing of it. So I know, it can be hard, especially when you're dealing with your finances and maybe um, saving for the future, but also cutting your losses and also maybe finding cheaper ways of doing things or more cost effective ways. If you have some subscriptions that need to be, you know where you don't necessarily use them, you need to get in there and tidy up those um those costs that aren't doing you any good. you know um if you've got a subscription to, I don't even know what to say here, like any of your streaming, um the things you watch on TV, the streaming, if you're not using them, cancel them. Why are you paying money unnecessarily? Okay, you have to ask yourself, is this worth, is it worth what I'm getting out of it? Okay. Oh, I do see friendships and friends that help and bring you benefit. um those are the people that are in your corner, that you need to surround yourself with, okay? And maybe distance yourself from the ones that are a little more, you know vibrating on the negative side. I don't like to say that because I think everybody needs to try to lift one another up, but sometimes those energies can be a little draining, and they're a little harder to be around. So limit your time. If if you're enjoying their company or enjoying the activities that you're doing, keep doing that. But if it's not bringing you the same satisfaction and joy that it once did, then it might be time to reel it back. Okay. I do see somebody possibly fishing. I see a fish hook here, and that might be somebody's form of relaxation is get out there and go fishing. Get away from if your day to day is very hectic, get out there and do something that's going to you know bring a little bit more peace and quiet time, and maybe a way of relaxing. Okay. Or maybe somebody's going on a vacation that they're going to be deep sea fishing or seeing fish on their travels, or actually it would be bigger fish too, so, or in that family, whales, dolphins. I wish I was on a vacation where I could see all those things. So even if it's not something we're dealing with, it might be somebody that we know of that's dealing with these things too. But I do see multiple blessings, and I think half of what we worry about never happens. So if you're focusing on any, challenges, just try to, keep it on a positive note or a lighthearted note, okay? But I do see the new chapter, the ending for new beginning is in a focal spot. And I do see it can be a little challenging, but worth it in the end, okay? Big success. I mean, I see big financial success here of something that brings you joy. And I do see a second chance. So, how can you can't, that some things can be sad, but I feel like, it all works out. So, in the destined path that we're on is going to have doors that close. Call that, that feeling of, rejection as spiritual protection. So, all right, folks. Well, that's what I've got this week. If you'd like a more personal reading, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to sit down with you. You take care and have a blessed week.